am Dr. Jeff Nickel. This is the story of a cat I named Faith. She was important not just because we loved her, but because she taught some important lessons. Her story goes back a number of years. She's long since passed. But the memory of what she did for us, well, it's never faded. Our early morning front desk manager, Martha Peterson, had been in the office only about 10 minutes when she heard the dreaded banging on the front door. A veterinary hospital really likes a schedule, but early surprises are a fact of life. Holding a cardboard box and shifting her weight from one foot to the other, a nervous young woman waited as Martha unlocked the front door. Then things happened really fast. Only halfway through her well-practiced "Can I help you?" the box was pushed into Martha's arms. Inside was a short-haired brown tabby cat with a mangled and bleeding lower jaw. Somehow this sad kitty managed a weak cry through the foamy blood in her mouth. When Martha finally looked up, the woman was gone. This kind of event happened with some regularity at my veterinary hospital. I've always believed that those who anonymously deliver unwanted and sometimes badly injured helpless creatures to us are doing the best they can. Oh, it'd be easy to default to a bad attitude about these situations, but our job is to do what it takes and work with whatever we're given. None of us needs to talk about it, we just feel its pulse every day. Martha and our early assistant knew what to do. They took charge. When I arrived 10 minutes later, our first patient was already getting generous doses of IV fluids, warmth from a hot water circulating blanket that my good staff had wrapped around her, and some much-needed TLC. I really like these people. They help me do good work. Our homeless cat had severe injuries to her head, her lower lip, and her jaw. When she struggled to her feet, she staggered. But with generous doses of pain control and other medications to counter her brain trauma, she actually began to calm down and rest. I don't remember which of us heaved that first sigh of relief. By noon, this cat with no name was stable. On close inspection, her jaw fractures and skin wounds appeared manageable. Still, she looked rough. But I'd been in practice over 20 years by that time and had pulled success out of worst messes. I've often felt that it's been much more than just skill and experience. Maybe our work is part of something much bigger. Anyway, you can't do much with a trauma case if you're not an optimist. The other good thing about this little waif was her beauty. Once you accepted her as she was at the moment, you could see her lovely feline form, her fine coat, and best of all, her own optimism. She was ready to move on. I was on board with her, and so was everybody else. We had 2 energetic young veterinarians on our hospital staff who had a true love of pets. We picked them for our team because they had this fire in their gut. You know when someone has it. You can just feel it. One such eager young associate doctor was Melanie Gilman. She was born that way. It's something about looking at a disaster and thinking only about how good it'll be when the job is done. As soon as Dr. Melanie arrived that day, she wanted to be part of this cat's care. This brown tabby cat didn't carry a credit card, no wallet or ID either, so our time and energy to make her well was on the house. Young Dr. Gilman already had a few basic orthopedic cases under her belt, and she was ready for her next assignment. I gave our young doctor her instructions and a promise to mentor her through the procedure. With our patient's vital signs stable, little no-name the kitty was given oxygen and anesthesia by mask. Gently she went unconscious as our staff started to prep her wounds for surgery. Safe management of anesthesia is a serious business that nearly always goes well. But for the injured brown kitty, things went wrong. Suddenly her breathing and heart stopped. Dr. Gilman was there and got after it fast. In seconds, she was giving life-saving drugs and closed-heart massage. But the response didn't come. When they called me in, I saw fear and disappointment written on every face in the room. Anesthetic death just wasn't an option. The cat with no name wasn't going that way. We renewed our efforts and continued to give oxygen, cardiac stimulants, and more heart massage. For reasons none of us can fully understand, that little pink heart restarted its work. No Name really was a tough cat. In a few minutes, the color in her gums came back to pink, and she was stable again. We watched closely, and after a few collective deep breaths from all of us, she looked like nothing had happened. A few of our folks wanted to wake her up and forgo the surgery. No one wanted a replay of her near-death experience. But she couldn't get well without our help. I repeated our commitment to this cat as though it were a mantra. We took her to surgery. The operations on her jaws and face went well. When the last stitch was placed, she looked like a winner. A few minutes later, we put her in our recovery cage for close monitoring as she regained consciousness. She needed to be watched carefully. She'd become a high-risk case. 10 minutes down the road, and we had a problem. As our brown kitty exhaled the anesthetic and became aware of her surroundings, she suddenly got frantic. What followed was, by far, the worst part of her whole ordeal. Without warning, she went crashing, mouth wide open, into the cage door. She clamped her freshly operated jaws around the bars and howled. It was horrible. The damage was clear right away. In the blink of an eye, she had not only completely undone the surgery, she'd created yet one more jaw fracture. Our hospital is staffed by good people with generous hearts. They love pets, and that's why they came to work at our place. But tragedy can be frightening. My job is to practice my healing art full-time, be a good mentor, and lead. Want to guess which job is the hardest? I'd already had 2 serious surprises that day. The third was just ahead. I untangled our painful, agitated, and delirious cat from the cage door. Doing my best to comfort her, I looked up at what seemed like 100 glares. Our attempts at helping an injured homeless cat had gone badly. Emotions were frayed. I had championed this cat's cause, and I was being held responsible for the failure. How could I have even suggested surgery and its close friend pain for this hopeless cat? Later that afternoon, aided by more pain control and sedation, our kitty slept, but looked worse than ever. Despite my continued assurances that I could salvage a good life for this cat, I sensed skepticism from several of our staff. The real test was just around the corner. We have a few gut-level issues in veterinary medicine. Euthanasia is a hot one. All of us agree that it has its place, but you can debate all day about when it's right. Emotion lies at the heart of these discussions. Logic can be a scarce commodity. Among the young and passionate folks on our staff was Bruce. A natural leader, this tall, handsome fellow was just finishing his undergraduate work and had recently been accepted to veterinary school. As I was charting No Name's most recent calamity in her medical record, I looked up to see Bruce, Martha, and a cadre of 6 other staff members standing in front of me, confrontation style. Dr. Gilman, who had also fought hard for this cat, stood in the background. They all looked haggard. Clearly they'd been struggling, and I knew why. No one wanted to witness more anguish. They hadn't signed on for this kind of duty, and in no uncertain terms, they demanded euthanasia. Nobody was having a good time. We all know that life can be uncertain. In our work, we make decisions based on our knowledge and experience, plus one more factor. Maybe it's Mother Nature or a guardian angel. Maybe it's a force we can only feel. When I look back on my years in practice, some of my successes had resulted from more than just the work I did. There is a greater purpose. We don't triumph alone. Despite our cat's compounded problems, I still knew we had a winner. The unknown was the staff. Half of our group was united by the strength of their own convictions. Speaking for all of them, Bruce made it clear that it was simply wrong to allow this cat's suffering to continue. They were threatening to walk out rather than stand by as I tried to pursue the impossible at No Name's expense. I couldn't let it happen. This cat had inner strength, but she couldn't make it all by herself. She was brought to our hospital for a reason, probably unknown to us all. I told my staff that our work was not finished. Fear and pain were clear realities, but those were not good enough excuses to quit. I'd been patching broken pets together for as long as some of my people had been alive. I told them that I wanted them to have faith. It's easy to cut and run. Doing the right thing takes courage and faith. That cat needed a name, and I really needed a stable, united team. Panic can be a cruelly contagious disease. I told Bruce and Martha, and their compassionate but frightened band of pet lovers, that our battered celebrity would be named Faith. I said that I would take care of her personally. I believed that if Faith and I succeeded, my staff would learn that love and courage are greater than fear. Pets can be wonderful teachers. They're as real as any person. Each of them has a spirit. Most of those spirits are more pure and uncluttered than ours. We have them in our lives to help us learn the real meaning of being. They are God's creatures. Faith would help me teach. The next morning, with bright lights, a magnifying loupe, and our tiniest instruments, I carefully re-repaired Faith's jaw fractures. I did the first of 3 skin grafts on her lower lip. Faith and I got pretty close in the weeks that followed, but so did everybody. Faith got well, and she became our staff's pet for many more years, the rest of her life, in fact. She did more than just survive. She became a happy, shiny, beautiful cat. She was as healthy and normal as anybody you've ever seen. Oh, of course, everybody doted on her because she was so special. Faith would proudly saunter through the hospital, reminding us that life can be simpler and that you don't really have to do a lot to be loved and valued. You can just be. Normally, we place stray pets in homes because we get far more of them than we can adopt ourselves. This one was different. Our previous hospital cat had died of cancer a few years earlier. We needed a kitty at our work because our job can be stressful and, well, we just love pets. Faith was shared by all of us, including our clients. She often camped out at the reception counter, greeting pets and their owners near the front door where we first met her. Sometimes Faith sat on a shelf in our pharmacy, just a quiet presence. A few times she used a potted plant in my office as a lavatory. Bad Faith. Our cat Faith was a living, breathing reminder that short-term pain, however intense, can give way to healthy change. Faith turned out well. Her fractures, even her lower lip, healed nicely. She felt great and turned out to be a mighty fine-looking kitty, too. Amid the challenges of a busy practice, we found an unexpected opportunity to serve. We invested a part of ourselves in caring for Faith. We pulled together in our belief that we could make a difference. Since then, our investment has paid us back. We did what it took to save her, and we saved ourselves while we were at it. We were rewarded with the calm serenity of Faith every day. Faith's horrific injuries were a gift to her and to us because of the lessons she had to teach. Every pet we treat is an opportunity to learn more veterinary medicine. This time we learned much more. Faith can be a hard virtue to live, but it can quiet fear. I hope this story serves you and those around you well. You're welcome to share it with anybody who could learn a little from a quiet little creature named Faith. Every week I post a video or a podcast and a blog that I hope will make the lives of pets and the people they touch a little bit better. If you'd like to pass this on, share my web address, drjeffnickel.com. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. Jeff Nickel.